Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our book reading session, the Course in Miracles. Today, we're going to recap our last chapter that we read on Monday, and that was from lesson number 37, lesson number 38. And here we go. This day, we were told to reminisce that what is happening in our life is totally a story that we have worked on ourselves, and we are the only ones who can undo them. So lesson number 38 was about there's nothing that I, the divine me, cannot do. And it says there's nothing my holiness cannot do, speaks to size and strength of our abilities. That each one of us, if we incorporate into our everyday life, that we can create the life that we wish to do by repeating the law of attraction, by learning not to fall low in our frequency. And if we can raise our frequency, if we can feel good, then we are going to ace this course, because every atom, every molecule, every energy wave of us is pulsating with creative life force. And holiness is our superpower. All laws of world which are negative can be reversed completely. It allows all our pain bodies or sorrow, everything else to be solved. And then in lesson number 39, it was very simple again, that my holiness is my salvation. It's a very simple tool that all of us can overcome our ego. Ego is which brings in all things negative. Ego will never make anything positive. It will only kill everything positive, and it will make it negative. So in no uncertain terms, that my badass holiness will vanquish the ego's every bit, every use of it. So if I'm not tempted to take the ego's way, if that is the new identity I'm creating, and if I'm closing my eyes, we were told to go in a periodic check-in periods and then see that ego is the reason that many problems happen. Like anything which makes us uneasy, uncomfortable, not in God's light, is happening because of ego, is happening because of the lower frequency emotions, which are fear, worry, and insecurity, and many more. And these, when we keep fearing them, first they are thoughts which are bringing our frequency down, then they become worrisome, the depressive thoughts, and then they become depression, and then they manifest into some kind of physical illness. Which is the reason Louis Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, categorically says that any problem that happens in our body is coming because of an emotion stored in our body, in our memory. Our body doesn't have to be only physical, it can be mental, emotional, spiritual, etheric, any kind of body. If we are storing some kind of emotion in any of them, it will manifest in the physical problem that we are going to see. So if we start moving away from this false identity and moving towards truth, which is love and light, we can recreate ourselves. Lesson number 40 was again simple, that I am a blessed child of the universe, that all the beautiful purple violet light which is coming on top of me, I'm entitled to being blessed, being happy, being peaceful, being loving, being loved, and so much more. And if I don't separate myself from the world, and if I identify myself with all things that are positive, then life is going to become magical, and we can invite miracles in our life. Lesson number 41 was again nice. The divine buzz goes with me wherever I go. So if the divinity is going with us, is staying with us in every point of time, nothing can make us wither away. Nothing can take anything positive from us, and all the negatives are going to slowly start fading. Lesson 42 said very clearly, I am worthy. And if I tell myself that I'm worthy, and this anger, frustration, nothing is going to come in the way of my gift which I've received, then life is going to be very beautiful. And lesson number 42 talks about that I have chosen to replace with my life these 4 beautiful lessons, which are today's lessons, that through time and space, my passage isn't random. I cannot fail in my efforts to achieve the goal of the course. It's a gift, and I don't have to do anything. I can receive this gift anytime, anywhere, in any circumstances. So if life is a magical gift, then who am I to say no to? 43. Super God to the rescue. It says, God is my source. I cannot see apart from him, is another RSO. It's one of the lessons. I don't like that much. It's preachy and strikes me as not fun. This is what Pam Groud says. But the nishkarsh, the identification, the result of learning this was that I am being guided by God every time. There's this inner voice in me which is guiding me, which is, and if I realize, I mean, if I rely on this beautiful voice of mine, the inner voice, the holy voice, then life is going to be just nothing but absolutely richer, and so much more is going to happen. Lesson number 44, that all of us, if we start going towards the light, basically towards anything which is positive with God's love and light, then our life is going to be one with magics and miracles, and there will be nothing left to despair in it. Lesson number 45 was again very, it's like a constant reminder to all of us that if we are changing the narrative of our life, if we're changing that we are not going to go towards anything negative and we choose kindness, generosity, and love, then whatever happens in front of us will only be a helping hand, and we all can be absolutely in a world of love and light. 46th session, it talked about the F word for beginners. Now, what is that? It's just it's one card, it's one concept, it's one identity which we all plan within us, and this planning is coming from a place of love and light. So today, I am going to say again and again that source is a love in which I forgive. And this F word was forgiveness. Forgiveness for not what somebody else has done to us. That is just a misconception we have. Forgiveness that we thought we were in that low frequency, and this is what manifested. And I am not right now forgiving somebody else. I am not forgiving anybody other than me. And I am keeping this perception in my mind that forgiveness means knowing that my perception is forever small and tiny, it's incomplete. And forgiveness is to defy the lie that something is wrong, that life blows, and so is horrible, evil person. So we just are going to forgive ourselves for that. And that once I start forgiving, then I'm very relieved of any kind of judgment, because then there's nothing called a blame game. Lesson number 47. Let's start our day today with this. I'm sorry. What? Yon Orji said, I've given God a big bag to fill. Because when you give him a small bag, it's like, you can do that yourself. Why'd you bother me? The same voice that hired Bill Thetford and Helen Schumann to write the course told Yoni Orj, Nigerian American comedian, who plays Izari's friend Molly on HBO's Insecure, to take up comedy. Like Helen, she rolled eyes. Comedy? I just finished a master's degree in public health. I don't do funny. I'm an immigrant. My parents expect me to be a doctor or a lawyer, maybe a pharmacist. But by then, Yvonne had enough experience to trust what lesson 47, the dude is a strength in which I trust, promises. His voice will tell you exactly what to do in all situations. So she wrote a 5-minute comedy bit to use as a talent in a beauty pageant. That led to her animated stand-up work, that led to the starring role on Insecure, that led to a contract for a new book. Bamboozled by Jesus. How God tricked me into the life of my dreams. And this book is very, very, very interesting. As she says, the Holy Spirit sensed my doubt because right after he told me to do stand up, I got a download from heaven. I grabbed a pen and paper and I wrote everything I heard as he dictated plans for my life. Over the years, Yvonne had developed a very intimate relationship with the voice. By trusting its advice, she found exactly what this lesson promises: a place in her mind with deep peace, a place that knows nothing is impossible. As she says, y'all, this comedy thing was his idea. And the reason I'm so good and so happy is because I know how God works. I've seen his MO so many times. I can be like, but I thought this was it. God be like, oh, that's what you thought. I got the goods for you. So today I'm asked to pick up my own goods in 4 5-minute practice periods, and I'm asked to close my eyes, look at my fears, and dismiss each one. Now, this exercise may prove very therapeutic. Imagine Four times a day, you're sitting down with yourself, you're reflecting, and you're letting go of each and every fear that you hold in your mind. If I do this, what if I fail? If I do this, what if this comes back? If I do this, I send this so clearly, never to be found again. But what if it comes back? What if it troubles me? What if this person attacks me? If we let go of our fears, how magical life is going to become. Lesson number 48. A Course in Miracle explained in 11 words. When it seems really dense and bogged down in words, A Course in Miracle can be summarized like this: the universe has my back, and everything is going to be okay. Everything else is just a big ruse. By practicing the lessons, I begin to get it that joy is my natural state. I begin to realize that fun is my guiding light and feeling good is my purpose. I even so far go to recognize that joy is why I'm here. Lesson 48. There's nothing to fear. Simply states a fact. Today's practice periods should be short, simple, frequent. Make the nothing to fear mantra a running commentary. And know that when you allow your natural hum of joy to emerge, your beautiful broadcast literally uplifts the world, sharing it as an important public service. How wonderful. Lesson 49. Think one and think two. Philip K. Dick said, to fight the empire is to be infected by its derangement. Dr. Seuss's Think One and Think Two wear red jumpsuits and blue afros. My Thing One and Think Two are voices that compete in my head with opposing narratives. Thing one is my creative voice. It says things like dance, sing loudly, high five the stranger on the bridge. It is a part of my mind that lesson 49, so speaks to me all through the day, assures me, is in constant communication, even when I'm not aware of it. Thing two is my monitor voice. It urges caution, measures what I could lose, teaches me to be a consumer. It conditions me to focus on my safety, to wriggle into a constructive mold. So people I don't even know will say a good job. Thing two is what the Course calls ego. It lives in the past, worries about the future, is obsessed with lack. Basically, it's a grievance machine. It's happiest when pretending to be me. Today, I make note of Thing two's disorganized and distracted narrative. Instead of fighting it, I simply notice. I choose to identify instead with a part of my thing where stillness and peace forever reign. This lesson promises I can easily listen to thing one without interrupting my regular activities in any way. So instead of saying things like, I'm anxious, I'm nervous, or this course makes no sense, I will stop four times today for 5 minutes and remind myself. Thing two might be anxious, and thing two might believe the course makes no sense. But thing one is right here, safe, unencumbered, and unaffected in any way. So, when God is with me, He's guiding me. When a source is speaking to me all throughout the day, anything which is negative, anything which is ego, anything which is full of anything negative, we just let it go because we're just letting it be released from our thought process. Lesson number 50. Manna, umbrellas, and pennies from heaven. Raven Ravenswood. He says, our bodies resonate with the love and power of creative cosmic rhythms, dancing through every cell in our beautiful beingness. Now, isn't this saying by itself very beautiful, very deep, and very magical? Anyone who hangs out with Tom Cruise for more than an hour or so notices people constantly bring him things. Freeze dried organic blueberries, for example, or a baseball hat to block the sun, or a green juice. Every hour or so, his personal chef or one of his assistants shows up with some new item he simply can't live without. These gifts seemingly show up out of nowhere. If it starts raining, poof, an umbrella miraculously appears. When he needs a culinary pick me up, a costume change, or yellow vase for a beautiful bouquet of roses shows up almost magically, doesn't even have to ask. In the case of Top Gun Star, it's his crew that works the magic, but it's also a fitting metaphor for lesson 50. I am sustained by the love of source. Please highlight this or write this wherever you want. If all of us are sustained by the love of the source, by love of God, by everything magical, then why should we fear? Why should anything happen negative? What I've noticed is that once I rid myself of the old life sucks paradigm, once I get it that the universe has my back, really cool things begin magically appearing in my life. I call it mana, gifts from the universe that literally fall from the sky wherever I let go of the idea that I need to be fearful, that I need to worry. My dear friend Anola laminated a sign that, when laid on the dashboard of my car, reflects the sentiment on the front window. Everything always works out for me. It's my motto, and today I repeat again and again: I am sustained, I am sustained, I am sustained. Boom. So we've completed the first 50 lessons, and now we're going to just review them and then we'll read the others. Review 1. Bruce Springsteen says, when they said sit down, I stood up. Lesson 51 to 60 are reviews reminding me of the 50 lessons I've allegedly mastered. I'm asked to spend 2 minutes in the morning and another 2 minutes before I nod off to sleep land thinking about miracles. Considering it takes more time to microwave a hot pocket, then that's not a preposterous ask. The key is to get these concepts stuck in my head, like, say, who let the dogs out or Britney Spears' baby one more time. The goal is to inadvertently find myself humming these concepts, tapping them, especially applying them whenever I'm distressed or believing something's wrong. Meditating on those ideas in the morning is cool and all, but I want the replacement to be automatically. Here's what I want to work. We will, we will. I hope you're thinking Rock You. Queen's hit We Will Rock You is so catchy, so familiar, that those four simple words, we will, trigger my auditory cortex, and I can't help but immediately fill in the rest of the line. That's my goal. The involuntary application of these principles. The very second a troubling thought crops up, kaboom, a miracle pops in to replace it. And speaking of music, it's such a potent force that instead of another recitation of the principles, I've chosen a song for each of the following 10 reviews. Play it on YouTube. It's easy enough to find a link while brushing your teeth each morning. Apply anytime your ass hat trying to point out that whatever it is you're looking for or is something else hiding around the next bend. Each review also comes with a miracle story that defies what we think we know, a story that suggests maybe there's something bigger going on. Because conventional wisdom deems miracles too good to be true. Two pie in the sky. We core students need to hear over and over again that miracles are normal, that they happen all the time. In this review, I hereby invoke the 4 minute smile rule, the one that says that if a person did it, the rest of us can do it too. So, very important concept that we all are somehow stuck in the cage of our being. Only if we realize that there's potential, there's God's will, there's love, light, anything is possible. Lesson 51 says, it's all a mirage. Yogi Bhajan says, I do not believe in miracles, I rely on them. Now, isn't that magical? That in itself is a power statement. That miracles are what sustains me, miracles are what happen every other day, and I'm dependent on nothing but miracles. So, when we say that, miracles are bound to come in our life because that's what we are believing in. The need to know nothing is as it appears. From the jukebox, I Feel Good by James Brown. The we will, life doesn't give a shit about me. The dash rock you, James Brown was born into extreme poverty, was abandoned by his mother before sixth grade, lived much of his childhood in his aunt's brothel, and when he was 16, was sent to juvenile detention center for stealing a three-piece suit from a car. Doesn't sound like much of a miraculous life, But if it wasn't for the detention center, the godfather of soul, the most sampled artist of all time, would have never met Bobby Bride, who not only secured his early release from the detention center, but adopted him into a large family, invited him to sing lead for his R&B vocal group, and launched his career as one of the most influential musical artists of all time. As Brown once said, if I hadn't stolen that suit, I'd never have found my family. It's a good reminder that nothing is as it appears on the surface. Let me remind myself today, over and over again, that I am capable of accurately judging anything in my life. Again, I am incapable of accurately judging anything. In other words, if we start following the process, trusting the process, going with love and light, everything in our life is going to become such a beautiful thing that all things are not going to be coincidental. They'll be there because they are meant to be there. Lesson 52. Past. What past? Henry Miller says the aim of life is to live, and to live means to be aware, joyously, drunkenly, serenely, divinely aware. The need to know. The world I see is a picture of the past. From the jukebox, Happy by Pharrell Williams. We will, I have to work my ass off to make things happen. The Rock You World Travel plays a starring role on many a vision board. Common knowledge. Aka the past insists the best way to accomplish this job to get a job, accumulate enough money and vacation time to visit, say, Cape Town or Belize or Cook Islands, all places I visited in the past few years. I, on the other hand, had no expectations one way or another. I knew I had a burning desire to travel, and I had nary a clue how to make that happen. What I did have here was a wherewithal to acknowledge I had no clue. It was abundantly clear to me that I was going to jet around the world. My only option was to give up to the universe. Now, whatever plans we have, if only we leave everything to the universe and say, you are the Karta Dharta. I'm just going to follow what you guide me. And I know this is what I believe in, this is what I want in life. And I will get this because you are there. I believe you. And then nothing can change your miracle and magics which are going to be ever present in your life. But if we are the controllers that we are, oh, I can plan this, oh, I can do that, or I will do this, or let me double check, triple check, four times check, or whatever, then magics, miracles are not going to happen because the control freaks in us is going to just let everything be the way it was. That's a momentary shift, it's not a permanent shift. So if I let it go completely, trusting the universe was a heck a lot smarter and more abundant than me. Instead of following the accepted path of slaving away and accumulating money and vacation time, I now travel for free. The universe led me into travel writing, an occupation I'm not even sure I knew existed when I first made the declaration that I wanted to be a world traveler. Money. Who needs money? Lesson 53. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Mary Carr says, God has come to seem like Miles Davis, some nasty genius scowling out under the hat, scornful of my mere being, and on the verge of waving me off the stage for the crap job I was doing. The need to know. The world I see reflects my thoughts. I see suffering and loss. I'm not allowing my real thoughts. From the jukebox, celebrate by Cool and the Gang. We will. The world is chaotic and we all destined to wither and die. The rock you when Mike Politic was 42. He was diagnosed with the early onset Parkinson's. Doctors told him that within a decade, he'd be unable to walk, stand, or feed himself. 7 years later, with the disease in full swing, he agreed to participate in experimental new drug treatment that injected a chemical called Nutrien into his brain through two holes in his skull, one in each hemisphere. Almost immediately, his shaking disappeared, his mobility improved, his speech became markedly clear. Before long, he was heli skiing and running marathons. He even climbed Yosemite's half dome. His doctor was astonished. By April 2013, however, she learned the experimental Parkinson's trials had failed. The neutral injections worked no better than the placebo sham surgery where fake divots were drilled into patients' skulls. Pollock's doctor almost hated to tell him.
She looked into records and was even more blown away to discover he had undergone the sham surgery. Nutrient had never been delivered. Instead, he got a miracle. He replaced meaningless thoughts with ultimate truth. He gave up the insane belief that he was a body, that he could suffer, meaningful beliefs. His divine perfection restored him to the truth. So, if miracles and magics like this can happen, we just read about this gentleman, we read about Anita, we read about so many people, and when they are absolutely the bodies withered away, gone, tattered, no scope, no hope, and yet magic's miracles happen. When do they happen? When all of a sudden we go into perfection and belief. We go into surrender and belief that God is perfect. That whatever happens is going to happen for the better. I trust the process. I completely surrender. I stop being this control freak human that I am. And then the divinity, that is what unfolds. So meaningful beliefs restored him to the truth. It's lesson 54. Big bad thinking problem. Jim Carrey says, I have an insane belief in my own ability to manifest things. Thoughts have power, or as the Course describes it, there's no such thing as an idle thought. When the music says, Don't worry, be happy by Bobby McFerrin, it is a reminder to all of us that worry is not going to take us anywhere. Happiness is going to take us everywhere we want to go. And then when we say we will, my thoughts have no bearing on physical reality. The Rock You, one of the key reasons I accept all invitations to present workshops, what I call play shops, is because I meet the most amazing people. I hear the most miraculous stories. In Seattle one year, I met a woman who used the principles in E squared, which, like this book, was adapted from the course to win one of HGTV's dream homes. Another got front row tickets to U2 concert even though it was sold out. At a workshop in Austin, one of the participants told me about the time she casually mentioned, My lawn is out of control. I just wish someone would come over and mow it. Not 15 minutes later, she heard her lawnmower outside revving its engine. She looked out of the window to see one guy mowing her lawn, another with a weed eater. She had no idea who they were. There was no sign on their truck, no notice of why they appeared. She never saw them again, but they did a fabulous job executing the very thing she had requested. Isn't it a fun possibility and a guaranteed fact, according to the course, that everything, healing every need, could be that incredibly easy? So, if all of us can tune in ourselves and tell ourselves that any form of healing, whether it's a physical problem, mental, emotional, etheric, spiritual, all thing can be working to the best of its capacity as long as I am in the course. The course where I believe in love, light, magic, miracles, and the life is super easy. Then life's going to definitely change for all of us. Lesson 55, the chapter's name is Miracles 101. Richard Rohr says, The people who know God well, mystics, hermits, those who risk everything, always meet a lover or a dictator. True reality presents a world of peace and safety and joy. Better When I'm Dancing by Megan Trainor, when that song is captivating enough and making us when we are whole and complete, will guide us towards a life where we can all be dancing away. The we will. If we say life is a shit show, then yes, it is. The Rock You, six local plumbers were lined up outside my friend Bonita's rental apartment. They were shaking their heads, ruing the fact that the serious clog in apartment 5A's water line could not be fixed or less than $8,000. And that was if they were lucky while digging up the drain pipe. One after another, the local plumbers unanimously agreed that there was no other solution. 8 grand was a rock bottom bid. Bonita might have bought it, except that she hadn't budgeted 8,000 for that monthly repair bills. Bonita decided to ponder it for one more day. She decided to let the dude reveal an answer. She decided to do what most of us forget to do. She asked for a miracle. Please remember, She asked for a miracle. She did not give up hope. She bought time and she asked for a miracle. Next morning at a meeting in Kansas City, Bonita asked colleagues for suggestions. One plumber's name came up repeatedly. Why not? She shrugged. So what if he charges extra to drive out of town? She explained the situation, told him what his fellow plumbers had all concluded. I can do it for less, he said. In fact, I'm so sure I won't charge you travel time. He walked into the apartment and within an hour, the 8,000 problem was fixed. Bonita's bill, $200. So, despite what the locals stuck in the old reality plumbers say, it pays to know that there's always a different reality once you get out of town. If we can all become believers, we can all become achievers. That's simple crux of the Course of Miracle. If we can all believe that we have created a reality in good, bad, or whatever, and we can create our future into the good, best, and the super best by trusting in magic's miracles, then life is going to become so much more magical. Lesson 56. Snidely Whiplash is only a cartoon. Lin Manuel Miranda says there's no such thing as a mustache twirling bad guy. The truth remains unchanged, and everything I need is right here behind my fearful self image. I'm at the mercy of the world I see. If that is a song we will, is making us feel. From the jukebox imagined by John Lennon, if it's playing, the rock you Michelle is a single mom of two. And there's a story again. Michelle is a single mom of two little boys. After reading my book E Squared, she encouraged her boys to focus on what they wanted each night when they went to bed. When the oldest was 6, he announced he wanted a turtle. I couldn't back down from what I told them. I didn't want to put any doubt in his mind, she told me. And what was I going to say when he didn't get his turtle after I'd been harping about this asking and believing thing? She kissed him goodnight. But as I turned my back, I immediately started worrying. How would I explain when this didn't happen? At around 10:30, there was a knock at my door. It scared me silly. I cautiously went to the door and peered through the window. It threw me off when I saw my girlfriend's cousin's husband standing there. He didn't have a very good reputation and we never talked to each other, but curiosity won over. I slowly opened the door. Very sheepishly stammered and finally just blurted out, Sorry if I startled you, but I work maintenance for the county golf course. I just found this turtle, and while driving home, something told me that maybe your boys would want this. I was dumbfounded. We were not on his route home. He had to go out of his way. When we trust, we are given, given, and given. When we doubt, then things come as a doubt factor. My son, the next morning, when she showed him, was not at all surprised. His attitude was, "Of course, I got a turtle. That's what I asked for." But to me, it was mind blowing and proof that we should always have faith, the faith of a child. If all of us can make ourselves the believers that children are, then life is going to become so much more magical because we start believing in it. Lesson number 57. Opera in the house. Buckminster Fuller says, don't fight forces, use them. The need to know my thoughts, which are the opposite of truth, are make believe. All I have to do is recognize this and I am free. From the jukebox, It's a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. We will, but that's impossible. The Rock You. Kathy had a story. Sorry, there's another story. Let's read it. Kathy had a heart set on a fairy tale wedding. She wanted it held at the Carmel Mission. She wanted the reception to be at the Pebble Beach Golf Resort on the Monterey Peninsula. And she wanted someone famous to attend. After trying to convince her to elope, instead, her hubby to be finally relented, even though he worried that the biggest day of her life would end in disappointment. First, the Carmel Mission was only available to members, which they weren't. The Pebble Beach function space was booked 4 years in advance. And while her husband to be could try, He didn't really have access to anything famous, anyone famous. Let's just take a month and fly to Tahiti or Paris or both, he suggested. It all seemed rather impossible, except she talked her way into the Carmel mission. She happened on a cancellation at Pebble Beach, and her husband, through a friend, booked George Michael. This was in 2014 to play at her wedding. At the last minute, however, the former Wham singer cancelled. Two out of three, not bad, the groom shrugged. Except the night of the reception, the groom was called over by the caterer. Hey, Bob, he said, Oprah wants to come and congratulate you and Kathy. Quit pulling my leg, he said. Not really. She's here for a golf tournament in honor of the 75th anniversary of publication of John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. He told her the club wasn't open because of the wedding, so she and a friend want to know if they can come in and say hi. Let's just say Kathy got not one celebrity but two. A friend was none other than Clint Eastwood. If these aren't magics and miracles, these stories, and what are? And can we all tell ourselves that we vow in a way to invite these magics, miracles in our life by trusting the process, by saying, I had wanted this and I don't know how, but this happened. And the don't know how is I trust in magics and miracles. Whether you want a 2,500 crore in this industry in 1 year, whether you want a body which is absolutely beautiful, healthy, and magical, whether you want a persona of a healer and very acclaimed talked about. People take years to make content, people take years to work on their body, people take years to create a company. If you start believing in this beautiful books, rewiring your program, your mind, and your being, then magics can happen, and you will be talking about this to somebody sometime, somewhere. Lesson number 58. On my side. Roman Paine says, I wandered everywhere through cities and countries wide, and everywhere I went, the world was on my side. As I release the false ideas about myself, I recognize it is impossible to suffer loss or deprivation or pain. So, again, a reminder to each one of us, we are the ones who created these pain bodies or this feeling of lack and loss. And if we lose them by saying that they happen because of my low consciousness, I created them, and I can, replace them with something very, very powerful, which is all magics and miracles. Then life is going to play this song on the jukebox called Dancing Queen by ABBA. And then we will means no, will no longer mean poor me. It's not one thing, it's 100 others. The rock you will mean 20 years ago, a story again. Leigh was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Here's her story. I had suffered the problem that comes with the bipolar label for all my life. After being diagnosed, I set out to discover all these was to know so I could be informed about my condition. I read countless books, read websites, pamphlets, talked to others with bipolar. I wanted to understand why I was the way I was. I wanted to heal and thought lots of information was the best way to do this. Today, I see that all the reading, all those years pouring over information about disease was totally counterproductive. All it did was to teach me how to be bipolar. As time went by, I began to develop even more of the symptoms I was reading about. My life became unbearable. I suffered major anxiety, deep depression, panic attacks, eating disorders, body dysmorphia, low self esteem, OCD, agoraphobia, agoraphobia. I didn't even leave my house for 2 years. I suffered countless problems in all my relationships. I gave up on life and basically closed down completely. I had no hope of ever recovering and wanted to die. This was my ego story. How many of you identify with this? Maybe not in entirety, but a part of it. So please tell yourselves that it's your ego which says, I am not well, which says, I am the victim here, which says, I have been wronged. And unfortunately, we do have this ego. And if we let go of this ego, a lot of magics are going to come in my life, in our lives. So, second part of the story is today, since studying A Course in Miracles, I am symptom free. I'm happy, healthy, in love with life, and extremely grateful for all that A Course in Miracles and God, of course, has done for me. My only desire in life is to be able to share this beautiful system of healing with others, to show people that there is a way out of seeming nightmare, to give hope, and that what the Course insists can make does happen. I'm living proof. All it takes to exchange the nightmare for a beautiful dream is a little willingness to see things a little different way. God will do the rest. जो हमने चश्मा उतार लगाया हुआ है ना कि oh things become more clearer, this happens, we take this chashma off and just tell ourselves that life is going to be beautiful because we trust God, and then everything will become very very clear without the chashma. Lesson 59. Under house arrest. Edward E. Close says, I have neither the time nor the patience to wait for the media and mainstream science to catch up. Everything always works out for me. Living in the Moment by Jason Mraz. It's a frightening world out there. I better protect myself. Elizabeth Gilbert didn't mention the story in Eat, Pray, Love, but when she was in Indonesia going through a horrible divorce, suffering with intense depression, she decided to treat herself to a silent retreat. She booked a beachside hut on a tiny island off the coast to Lombok. It was very poor, not your typical tourist destination. Her plan was to spend 10 days without talking. Not a challenge since no one spoke English anyway. Her daily routine included walking completely around the island. A young Muslim woman who lived on the other side in the fishing place noticed her, acknowledged her each morning by placing her hand on her heart and smiling. One day, Liz came down with a horrendous case of food poisoning. She was really sick, really dehydrated, even terrified. This was before cell phones. She didn't show up for a daily walk. The woman from the village somehow sensed she was in trouble. She left her village, walked to the other side of the island, knocked on the door of every hut until she found Liz. When she saw her condition, she hurried away to retrieve fresh food and fresh water. Liz started crying and fell into her arms. This complete stranger rocked her as if she were her own child. Neither woman exchanged names. Liz has no idea who she was, but she says her immense kindness will, for her, always represent the face of Islam. How beautiful. Lesson 60. Put it to rest. Rob Brensky says, evade every influence that keeps you frozen in the past. Fear is a nothing burger. Shower the people with love. God is a big scary monster who sits on a throne waiting to catch me doing something naughty, naughty. This is what we are thinking, then God save us. But this book will save us. These mornings are going to save us. Another story. When Paramahansa Yogananda was 15, he was sent to the Indian city of Vrindavan with nary a rupee. He'd been yammering about wanting to quit school and devote his life to God. His brother Ananta, a stolid accountant, pulled a fast one on him. Okay, he challenged. You want to do God's work? Fine. Forget your inheritance. Why don't we put your wanted philosophy to a test in the tangible world? I'll buy you a one-way ticket to Vrindavan. It's where Lord Krishna first displayed his glories. Take no money, no food. You can't beg. Let God provide your food and return to home. You're not allowed to reveal your predicament to anyone. If you return before midnight without breaking these rules, I'll give you my blessing and I even become your first initiate. Ananta undoubtedly smirked as he sent off his penniless brother to a strange city he'd never visited, but not before searching for a hidden stash. Shouldn't we take a couple of rupees as safeguard? Pleaded the friend who agreed to accompany him. At least make a telegram home if we need to. Parmahans rebuked his friend, refused to proceed if he took a safeguard. As the train rumbled towards the holy city, the friend started whining. I'm really getting hungry. Why did you talk me into this? Right before the last stop, two men stepped into the compartment and began joking with the young boys. As the train pulled to a stop, they linked arms with Paramahansa and his friend and led them into a horse cab. Long story short, they ended up at an ashram, taking the place of a couple of princes who last minute had to cancel their lunch plans. They've not only served a 30-course meal while being fanned by a hostess, they visited Madonna Mohan temple with other Krishna shrines were given train tickets back to Agra and fed a dinner of the finest Indian sweetmeats. Was Ananta ever surprised when, at a few minutes before midnight, the young yogi walked into his home with a pile of rupee notes and bursting with stories? His brother, as promised, insisted on receiving spiritual initiation that very evening. These stories are so beautiful, absolutely goosebumps giving. Lesson 61. I am the light, baby. Lisa Ganga says, it's all vapor, really. Our entire lives, the tiniest blips in the ever expanding universe. We did it. Made it through the first 50 lessons and a 10 lesson review, where we learned the world is nothing like we thought. It's actually malleable and responds to what we believe and think and say. We're the artists, the creators, the only ones to hold accountable if for some reason in our world doesn't appear like we think it should. So, lesson 61 is a biggie. Get this one lesson. I am the light of the world. Get it deep in your bones, and boom, everything changes. Not only are you the light underneath the wah, wah, wah of hamster wheel of thoughts, but even the light is why you're here. It's your raison d'etre from here on and out. Instead of detailing a number of minutes and number of times to review each lesson, I suggest deciding for yourself the ultimate goal the ultimate goal is to apply the sentiment anytime the asshat appears in your mind with some unsolicited comment. I'm thirsty, I want a smoothie, wonder how many calories are there in the whey powder. Jim thinks smoothies are nothing but sugar. I should probably call my sister. Why does my knee hurt? Smoothie. If you're an overachiever or just someone who likes rules, I've added the suggested practice time from the original workbook at the bottom of each page. The first number is a recommended number of minutes. The second number is a number of times per day. For example, 5 2, lesson 61 request is 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, as always, apply as needed. We will read lesson number 62 tomorrow. Today we will meditate. Let's all close our eyes, straighten our backs, and take a deep breath in. And as you take your deep breath in, remind yourself this beautiful breath is a gift from Lords above. It's this breath which makes me go deeper within myself. This breath is a gift from my parents, from my mother. And feel the breath in your tummy as you're inhaling, and feel the breath releasing from your body as you exhale. Each breath brings with it positivity, light, and love. And each breath takes with it all the toxic dark energies that no longer serve us. Today, dear God, I surrender. I surrender to you. Today, I realize I am the creator of all things that happen to me. Physically, how I look, how I feel. Energetically, how I talk, how I emote. Spiritually, how I evolve or how I degrade. I am the creator of all that's unfolding for me at every given moment. And today, I let go, I surrender this very ego that says and I. When I know nothing, then where is this I, the ego, coming in? When I trust the process, then where is this I coming in? Then the process being trusted. When I, the creator, am also I, the destructor, then where is the I? I create my life. Where is the I that creates my life? So, can I simply say, you are the superpower, you are the God, the grand overall design. You are the magic, you are the miracle. Me, your child, child of the universe, trust you completely and allow myself to flow in the world of love, light, gratitude, and all things positive. And now, beginning this very moment, I become a person who not only believes but asks, ask, believe, receive. And I ask for miracles to shape me with the life I want to create. Because I know all that will be created will be done with the divine grace as I flow in love, as I begin to flow in light where I see the eternal light, as I begin to carry this divine body in my head, the divinity in my being, this divine talker, there's a divine existence in my being who speaks to me, who guides me, who mentors me, who nurtures me. I am the person who surrenders. I am the person who sees magics every day, every moment. I'm the person who sees miracles. And today I remind myself once again, life is a beautiful journey. In my past, there were lots of ups, downs. I resorted to blaming people, becoming a victim, but now no more. The forgiveness lesson showed me, taught me there's nothing to forgive. That is just a misconception. I let go. And all of you who are holding remorse in your body or the need to forgive, let's all imagine ourselves lying down on the bank of River Ganga, clean, beautiful grass bed, so soft, so loving, so nurturing. And as you lie down, your eyes are closed and you're just loving this beautiful velvet feeling of the grass below you. And now, take out your one hand and soak it in River Ganga. Through your hand, imagine all the emotions of the need for clarification, of forgiving, of being a victim. Whatever's coming up, just release. Or any health issues, just release. Keep releasing till the time you feel some energy is flowing out of your palms. Keep releasing, keep releasing. Keep releasing. My life is magical. I've just let go of all things unnecessary. And now I'm inviting magics into my life. Right here, right now, and for the future. And whatever magics, miracles you want to invoke in your life, affirm them right here, right now, in this 2 minutes of silent period, where whatever you want to affirm, ask for it. Ask, believe, receive. Allow these magics to stay in your consciousness. Keep asking for the miracles and be blessed. Now let's fold the hands of gratitude and thank the divinity for helping us in our meditation, for helping us create a beautiful path ahead. Let's rub our hands together. Bless our entire body, shower it with love, light, blessing, and gratitude. Front and back, down to up to down. And let's bless all divinity, all beings with more love, with more light, with more abundance. Be blessed. Be blessed. Be blessed. I shall see you all tomorrow, same time, same place.